What's going on, wrestling family? Welcome back to the channel. So according to this video right here, WWE has a Roman Reigns problem. Okay, that was delayed and a little low. Y'all see what I was trying to do there. But anyway, yeah, WWE apparently has a Roman Reigns problem. And when I speak to people and I see people in the IWC talk about Roman Reigns, they don't have a problem with, his presence. They don't have a problem with his mic skills, him being in the ring, anything like that. Their biggest issue with him is the fact that he is a part-timer. Now, to me, him being part-time does add to the mystique of his character. Whenever he returns, the crowd goes crazy. He be breaking up happy homes because husbands be folded up with their arms because their wife is sitting next to them crying and screaming for Roman Reigns and a couple of other things, but we'll talk about that at a different time. But even with all of that, I can understand why people have a problem with him being part-time, right? For one, it's hard to really build or invest in a storyline involving Roman Reigns because we don't know when he's going to disappear. We don't know how long he's going to be gone when he's gone. And on top of that, he just pops in pretty much whenever he wants, and it kind of feels unfair to the people who are working full-time that's, in the ring every single week, getting hurt on the mat all the time, and he comes in and take a match that surrounds him when that could have been a spot for a person who's backstage for full-time. But don't get me wrong. I do understand because Roman Reigns is a megastar, so the rules that apply to megastars is way different than anyone else. Even with music, whatever the case may be, it's different for them. They can step to a place, fart, and get paid more than you would by doing a full concert if you're a musician, right? That's just how things work. But for me, I do understand both sides. I'm not as hard on Roman Reigns, Pauls, like everyone else is, because I do understand that in the past he's dealt with health issues. So I'm wondering if that plays a role, because we don't know. We don't know. But anyway, we're going to watch this video, guys. And before we get started, please do me a favor. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Let's get into it.
Roman Reigns, he might be the biggest WWE superstar of his generation. He's one of the most important wrestlers of the 21st century. Yeah, the record-breaking world title reign. He was the top villain. He was a part of the biggest match in Triple H's new WWE regime.
Dude, okay, I know everybody said that he needed to turn heel, but after seeing all this, imagine if you go back in time 10 years ago and told yourself that, hey, Roman Reigns, in about 10 years, he's going to be this, this, and this. How many of y'all would have believed that back then if y'all did that? I know the first thing I'll ask, like, how the heck did you get a time machine? But if you told your younger self this, that Roman Reigns is going to do this, have one of the biggest WrestleMania matches of all time, one of the greatest storylines of all time, one of the greatest factions of all time, would your younger self believe it? I would like to hear that in the comments.
It's no secret that he's closing in on retirement, though. And it's happening sooner than you might expect. When speaking to Vanity Fair earlier this year, Roman Reigns revealed that once his current deal with WWE expires at or around WrestleMania 42 next year, he's probably going to call it quits in a year or two after that at most. So that puts his retirement around 2028, which will end a near 2-decade run in WWE. But here's the catch. He may not even last until then. We're gonna get into it. WWE may have a Roman Reigns problem, and it may not have an ending that fans are hoping for. So join us as we dive into the possible issues ongoing with Roman Reigns and what could be done about them. This is Sports Key to Wrestling. I am Kevin Kelm, and I demand you acknowledge us by liking the video, hitting all of the comments below with your hot take on everything, and subscribe to Sports Key to Wrestling here on YouTube so we can crack 200,000 subscribers. For the last few years, Roman Reigns has taken on a part-time schedule that's, let's say, really gotten part-time, and it's gotten harder for him to maybe maintain the mystique of his character being that part-time. Though overall, it hasn't made him really fall down the card by any means. For example, in 2022, he began his part-time schedule and he had 7 title defenses in 12 months. Sure, we deserve a fighting WWE champion that defends the title often, maybe even every month, but 7 title defenses for a villain who is chased often like he was at the time is probably a sweet spot and lent itself to his holier-than-thou character. It's also important to really lay out the context and reasoning behind a part-time Roman Reigns and why maybe fans didn't have a big issue with it like they did with maybe someone like Brock Lesnar. When speaking to Sports Illustrated...
Well, the thing is with Brock Lesnar, too, it's like he was doing crazy stuff, like interfering in matches he's not supposed to be a part of, like causing disqualification and non-disqualification matches. Like, it was just crazy, like what they was doing with Brock.
Roman Reigns essentially said that when he signed his new deal in 2022, his priority was to focus on his growing family at first and WWE second, and WWE officials, including Vince McMahon, who was in power at the time, were quite accommodating to his needs. He got that arranged in his deal, and WWE managed his character as such. Honestly, if any wrestler of their worth like Roman Reigns gets their demands met by WWE, and WWE is willing to accommodate it, there isn't any reason to really criticize it. And let's not forget the elephant in the room, his health. It's been over 7 years since Roman has been in remission from leukemia.
Dude, I'm just telling you guys, I said this to the Holy Podcast. Subscribe to the channel. I don't know when they're going to post that video up, but that day that Roman Reigns came out and had to relinquish the title because of his leukemia, bro, I was so sad, man. That hit me so hard. For me, I have a huge soft spot for people who have cancer or dealing with any terminal illness and mental illnesses too. But when that happened, like, dude, it took everything in me not to cry. As much as I didn't or wasn't a fan of Roman in that moment, like, if anybody in the crowd would have booed, I would have jumped through that TV and fought that person. Like, literally.
Reportedly, no one outside of his immediate circle truly knows how he deals with that serious health issue, and we don't know exactly how it affects his performance and how often we can see him on WWE television. Beyond just saying what we already know and what you know from the past 7 years ago, it's just speculative, and we can't really go into it beyond that point. So why exactly is it that Roman Reigns' part-time schedule is causing a problem when he isn't the undisputed WWE champion any longer? The answer lies less in what Roman Reigns has as a schedule and more in what he's doing with that part-time schedule, and also the circumstances that he's coming back to now and then as a revived WWE fan favorite. It's how he's being handled. It has more to do with the fact that he's placed in these really important storylines, like he should be, and we now have to wait months and months and months to get to the end or follow-up from it because of that part-time schedule. This is a 24/7 media cycle. New content every single day to WWE fans.
Yeah, at least if you're going to be part-time, bro, do something on social media. Something.
Who are hungry as an audience, but also an audience that is fickle, demanding payoffs of storylines that seemingly should be built to epic conclusions after months and months. But this is the same audience that wants those payoffs in a matter of weeks. When he took 4 months off after losing the WWE Championship to Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 40 in a fantastic match, it was well earned. It made sense that he would disappear once more. But the lack of frequency in his appearances in 2025 has made things a bit frustrating. Apart from the months off he took between Royal Rumble and his return at WrestleMania 41, his sudden disappearance has left fans feeling a dent in WWE television. Paul Heyman, his former wise man, betrayed him in the most shocking moment at WrestleMania 41, maybe even the highlight of the weekend, and there has been virtually little follow-up on that side of things, only Heyman recently acknowledging it. And like, we get it, he's going to take a break, but why put him in such an important position when he's not going to be there to follow up on it right away, or at least let us know that there's going to be a follow-up on it right away? We get it. The Roman Reigns faithful want answers, and they haven't gotten them, and I'm pounding my fist on the table. My Superman punch fist is pounding on the table. Like we said, we don't think it's Roman Reigns' fault, but it's the circumstances of his current deal that WWE has to play into and be able to execute and still meet expectations in.
I wonder if they're going to try to force him to be full-time, and I wonder what his response to that's going to be.
Critical factor of Roman Reigns at this point is that being a conniving, fun villain before as the tribal chief with the bloodline alludes to his challengers chasing him to premium live events like a Mania, with the bloodline minions maintaining his influence when he's not there. He cuts a promo, takes 5 minutes to get into the ring. It worked when he was the Darth Vader in WWE Star Wars. You're not going to get to him until the end. It's a cool, calculated villain with a deep supporting cast and someone you could cheer for as a villain, but at the same time, he was always just a villain in that story. For a true blue babyface who's supposed to be the one to take down the bad guys and right the wrongs and fight the good fight, that is a role that even Roman Reigns, still being so beloved, we're not denying that fans still love him, it is hard to psychologically, week to week, maintain a thorough effectiveness of that kind of character when he simply isn't there enough. Maybe allowing Reigns to to just be Reigns, a tweener, an elusive, mystique-driven loose cannon a la The Undertaker is the sweet spot for him. However, it looks like the new regime of WWE may not be as accommodating to that as the older one. The deal that Roman Reigns got with WWE under a different management and different ownership in 2022 may not be the deal that works for TKO, the parent company of WWE now, who put billions into it to buy it, and they are profit-driven like any other company. Yet they may
they're gonna
not
want
see.
They're gonna want to see him on TV all the time. I guarantee you, because they know that Roman Reigns is a draw, and they know they're gonna cause more people to come to those Smackdowns and those Raws. Like I got a feeling that's what they're gonna try to force.
Any specific superstar as their singular golden goose, with Roman Reigns reportedly one of the highest paid names in pro wrestling at around $15 million. This is something to consider. Longtime former WWE Spanish TV commentator Hugo Savinovich detailed with his insight on how this could all play out for Lucha Libre Online, saying, quote, "While they won't outright release him, he won't be making $15 million per year anymore. Is that a deal that still works in today and tomorrow's WWE? Simply don't know, but maybe it's less likely than it was before. That's just speculation." When Roman Reigns was given his part-time deal, it was a sign of respect for his years of work and effort that he put in, and it fit with his character. TKO, under these current circumstances, maybe doesn't need to have that type of player in this type of part-time role when they're setting for record profits. Will WWE, by default, ask more of Roman Reigns, get more of Roman Reigns before his current deal runs out? That's another question worth asking. So for WWE, it presents a lot of problems to juggle all at the same time. First, it's kind of throwing creative plans awry when you have such a big superstar of that caliber simply not on TV that much. The second is that WWE, as we objectively look out with everything we laid here, is going to look at the effects that Reigns has on the entire landscape of the company, from the storylines on TV to his infrequent featured player status that has significant paydays attached to it. For you and I as fans, we may understand the impact that a superstar like Roman Reigns, or heck, even an R-Truth, who is loved, has on the locker room and the week-to-week show that we spend our time with. But to those higher up in a WWE boardroom somewhere looking at numbers on a spreadsheet that we will never see, the responsibility on them is completely different. It's not simply to just us as fans, but to the company as a whole. For
I think, and I do understand like why fans complain about some things that WWE do, but I think sometimes we forget that it all comes down to the bottom line. And I know people's response to that is like, "Oh, you don't work for the business. Why do you care about the money?" But to see what you see on TV, to complain about it, it's best to understand why it's happening before you complain about it, right? And if you still don't like it after that, then that's cool. But at the end of the day, a lot of the choices have to do with money. You know, they're a publicly traded company. They're companies that the people who own them, from Endeavor to TKO, they're gonna want to know, hey, do we meet the goals financially that we wanted to meet this month? If we didn't, why not? If we can't find a reason why, let's figure out ways to do it. What do we need to cut? What do we need to do? What do we need to have something cost more money? Right? And that's why we see those type of results. And it's not just happening in WWE. I know a lot of people like to relegate it to, oh, TKO is a bad guy. But it's happening to everywhere, from NFL to concert tickets to anything. For the most part, when it comes to entertainment, a lot of people's tickets have gone up a lot compared to now, to even 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I went to two LA Rams football games at Lambeau Field like the past like probably 3 years, not last year. But those seats, I was in a decent spot for like $120 something a person. But then when I tried to go to their game at Lambeau Field in the nosebleeds, it was like almost $300 without tax per person at Lambeau Field for a regular season game, one of the first few games of the Bears after they came off of a terrible season. So it's happening everywhere, man. And it's sad. I don't like it, but it just seems like everything is doing it.
Us, it's a fun, never-ending TV show with our favorite performers on it. For them, it is a company that has a bottom line that is the be-all, end-all. For them, this is the entertainment business, a multi-billion-dollar business. Emphasis on the business. It also leaves a big question. How exactly do you plan a Roman Reigns retirement and meet those expectations? Unless there's one final banger, preferably against someone like Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns' days of headlining WrestleMania WrestleMania should be over collectively when you look at it. It's probably time for everybody to accept that at this point. Roman Reigns is a special attraction who should be treated that way, and it keeps him cool. But with that being said, WWE is probably going to have to take him away for most of the important storylines going on, especially outside of WrestleMania season. And the reality is, after all these years of being the guy at the top of the mountain underneath Roman Reigns, the one he used to stand on top of, has more than enough talent to keep going on without Roman Reigns. That doesn't mean he's replaceable, it's just that things have shifted in WWE, and that his part-time deal can be circumstantially a bit problematic. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Yes.
Yeah, it's an interesting thoughts, man. That's an interesting thing to think about. And I think like if it's going to be hard for them to keep him out of main events, I would think, because again, TKO wants money, and what's going to sell WrestleMania, what's going to sell SummerSlam, what's going to sell all these different the big PLEs is the main events. And they're going to want one of the biggest, or if the biggest pro wrestler in the world right now, as far as, you know, a character and things like that. They're going to want them in the main event. Now, if they can't do that, maybe in the next 4 years, Roman Reigns will have to go into these big matches that don't necessarily have to have a storyline that is ingratiated in other things that's happening in WWE. Maybe, you know, we get those big matches like him versus The Rock or whoever the case may be, and it doesn't have to be played into whatever else is going on in WWE. It could be a very light storyline for these big matches that he can have, and these matches could be just big enough for them to sell tickets. It don't have to be something that's going to alter the entire world of WWE or anything like that. Just something really quick, you know, Roman versus this person, Roman versus this big superstar. Maybe another big superstar comes back, and, you know, I know people hate seeing like the old heads come back and wrestle, but those names do sell tickets. You know, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, it's going to be very interesting to see how TKO Endeavor WWE handles this situation, and more interesting to see how Roman Reigns responds to this whole thing. So what do you guys think? Do you guys agree with Sportskeeda Wrestling with this entire scenario? How would you want them to see, or how would you want them to book Roman Reigns, too many double R's, leading up into him retirement? Let me know in the comment section. Thank you guys so much for watching. Salute, peace, have a great day.